down to Dort. This is Lee Dort, and I'm down to dunk. This is Lee Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
I'm Josh Giddey, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, this is Kenny Hustle, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Darius Baisley, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Poku, and I'm down to dunk.
I love cereal. Captain Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cracklin' Oat Bran.
Oh, I can have these. I'm gonna share with my team, but I'm gonna hog most of it.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me on this Monday of trade deadline week, it's my good friend, Michele Barra. Michele, what's up?
Well, things are heating up, Andrew. A lot of stuff out there.
There's stuff
but
out
apparently,
there.
Apparently, we should be judicious in how much we enjoy this particular week. Because, it's not really sport. It's for nerds. So we have to acknowledge that.
Welcome to my nerddom. This is one of my favorite weeks of the year. I love it. Rumors, team building, strategy. It's so fun. Teams are going to change. There will be deals this week. I would guess my official Thunder prediction off the top is that they will acquire some kind of contract for some kind of pick. And
singular pick without S. Picks.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, second rounders picks for sure. First rounders, I don't know. We'll see. TBD on that one. There's this Blake Fisher of Bleacher Report has a report out there, and I'll just read directly from his report, just so there's no twisting of anything going on. So there are several pathways in which the Sixers could acquire Harden or Beal. For example, in addition to the popular sign and trade concept discussed around the league pertaining to Harden. If Harden or Beal ultimately communicates the desire to join Philadelphia, both stand to gain a far greater salary by opting into the final years of their contract than being dealt to the Sixers. But if the cleanest dynamic requires Philadelphia to create cap space to sign a star outright in free agency, multiple league sources have mentioned the possibility of a Sixers trade with the Thunder to move Harris into Oklahoma City's bounty of cap space. Philly already owes a top 6 protected 2025 first-round pick to the Thunder. The Sixers could remove those protections and offer additional draft capital now that Oklahoma City's $9.6 million trade exception from a previous Trevor Ariza trade expired, and the Thunder now have $33.7 million in cap room. No significant conversations have occurred between the Sixers and Thunder, according to one source with knowledge of the situation, but the deal structure was mentioned to Bleacher Report by several cap experts around the league. It remains to be seen how much financial wiggle room Oklahoma, which I don't know why they've ever referred to us as Oklahoma, will have following the trade deadline. So we have to acknowledge several things, when we talk about this report. The first is the giant amount of money that Tobias Harris makes.
Yeah. Can I stop you for just a second? Because I had a super funny thought and I want to share. Otherwise, I'll forget. When you mentioned Oklahoma, it seemed to me like it seemed like wrong, of course. Yeah. It's almost like the interview that Steven Adams did in in Denver, when someone told him about how great Nikola is as a player, and he was extremely confused about Nikola.
So it's Nikola. It's exactly right.
I don't know why that popped into my mind. It's because I'm
talking about OU. Like, what's going on here? Yeah. Tobias Harris. It's not only the fact that he makes a tremendous amount of money. It's the fact that this goes beyond next season. It goes into the 2023-2024 season, which he'll make $41 million that year.
Yeah.
Now, we know, and everybody knows, the Thunder value draft capital. It's very apparent. It's no secret that the Thunder value that. Another thing that the Thunder organization will value and will continue to value throughout this rebuild and throughout really the tenure of Sam Presti is financial flexibility. and you take on Tobias, the minute you take on Tobias Harris's contract, especially if money isn't going back to Philadelphia, like you could throw Favors or whoever. If there's not money coming back, which is possible, you just flip them like a conditional second round pick and the trade's done. Like you could do that. The Thunder are going to be dealing with the tax next year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not time to deal with the tax yet. Like that's like the number one thing is that they're not going to be good next year, even if you add Harris to the team. And even if you add the number one pick and Harris to the team, they're not going to be good. And a tax-paying team that at very best, if everything goes right, everything clicks together, they're a play-in team. Not paying the tax for a play-in team? Like, are you kidding me?
Okay,
Not
let
here.
me guide you. Let me guide you through a scenario that makes sense. First of all, let's play a game, and you tell me how many picks do you want to do exactly what you mentioned.
Okay.
Because everything has a price, and so in this moment, let's say that Philadelphia doesn't know anything, it cannot talk with any other team.
Yeah.
And it's just talking to you, Sam Presti, today. I say, hey, how much? Give me a price, and no matter what happens later, I'll give you that. And you have 48 hours to confirm that to me.
Okay. The price to take on Harris and the flexibility, one, you have to take Favors back to give the Thunder a chance to get under the tax.
Okay.
2, unprotect 2025. And then probably 2 more unprotected first rounders.
Okay, Andrew, that seems a little bit too much. You're pushing the limits a little bit too far.
I'll push, because here's the thing. To completely derail the flexibility that the Thunder will have in the summer of 2023, it has to be like a no-brainer deal.
Okay. Then my proposal is okay on Favors, okay on the 2 first rounders, but let's make the other one an unprotected swap.
The pick and unprotected swap? No, thank you.
It's 2 picks and an unprotected swap. Like the unprotected 2020, the earliest, and then so it's 2 unprotected and a swap.
Yeah.
Or like something like that. But it's just for the sake of not saying yes to you because it makes sense. But anyway, we hang up the phone, and a second later, you call Pelinka, and you make the offer. Say, hey, Rob, I can get off. I can give you Tobias tomorrow, and you can give me Russ.
Yeah.
But for that, since Philly is not giving me anything worthy of value, you can give me your 2028 unprotected pick.
Yeah.
And
28 unprotected.
And you give me the right to swap on your swap with the Pelicans both years.
That is interesting, because Russ expires after next year, which is way more interesting. You will pay the tax next year if you take on Westbrook's contract.
But you get 4 unprotected picks.
If you could swing something like that, then I think maybe it might be worth it. But
does it? It makes a ton of sense. Like, Tobias to the Lakers actually makes sense in terms of basketball.
I mean, kind of. He just
if
he shot more threes, it would. That's been like the whole thing with Tobias, is that
no, it's not just that. It's not just that.
That's part of it. It's certainly part of it. If he were willing to shoot a bunch of threes, you could figure out the defense and some of the other stuff and the ball stopping. I think you could figure that out with LeBron and with AD.
Yeah. He's the third wheel there.
Yeah.
Like, and the real, like, the fact that you saved the Lakers 10 millions this year and 15 next year or whatever it is, like something around 10, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you basically have the last year of Tobias. LeBron is expiring that before. And so you can really say, hey, this is the fat contract that I have to get away from. But in the meantime, for this season, I try to maximize AD and LeBron because there is nothing else I can get from Russ except either I hope that he comes back for the playoffs in some sort of he transforms himself, he plays well, I don't know, whatever. But Tobias is an efficient player. Like he's not inefficient. So you pair this guy who is not number one, not number two, but can be a third guy, and that's it.
But what do you do with Russ?
I don't possibly care.
You have
Like
to
whatever.
care. Russ still has the ability to take a team that's not good. And
I'm not saying that he will play.
I mean, to me, you would have to send him away.
Yeah, stay in Los Angeles.
You'd have to buy. You'd have to buy him out.
No, you don't. You don't.
You think that Russell Westbrook?
I don't possibly care.
But dude, you can't. The Thunder can't be this goodwill team.
Hey, you want to get away tomorrow? Sure. Forgo your player option and give me something back for this year. Even not something back from this year. You can take everything. You can take 10 million next year.
Yeah.
If not, this is our down payment for all the great money that you help us make in the past.
Yeah.
And that's it. You want to play? No, thank you. That's no. Just no.
The problem is like the Thunder can't play hardball with NBA stars. You know what I mean?
It's Russell Westbrook.
I know
like he's failing LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
It's still Russell Westbrook, the greatest player in franchise history.
Great. Give him the Kobe tour. That helped the tanking so freaking much. Like, that team won 20 games. 25, I don't remember. Make him score 60 this year.
This is a fun dream scenario. There's just no way. There's just no way.
It makes sense.
It makes sense.
Everything is a price, Andrew.
Financially, it makes sense pick-wise. But when you bring in the fact that it's Russell Westbrook, like that's where it just stops. Like if it was Kemba or John Wall or whoever else, like, yeah, sign me up. Do it.
But seriously, like, what is the difference in playing Derek Favors at the center? Like, play Russ as your center. Who possibly cares about the results? I mean,
Russell does. Oh, that's the problem. It's the
let him care. Let him care. The results are great.
He's gonna. I don't know. I mean, the Thunder have shown the propensity to tank and tank hard. We saw that last year. I have not seen a willingness to make a hostile type environment.
Yeah,
as a result of their decision making. We've seen that in Houston. Houston doesn't care about the personality of the team. Look up and down the Thunder roster today, and they absolutely care about the character and how this functions and developing real habits. Houston doesn't give a rip about that. Detroit doesn't give a rip about that. Orlando doesn't seem to give a rip about that either. Adding Russ back into this mix. The problem with Russ right now is if Oklahoma City says no, who in the world would say yes?
Exactly. To me, the point is not, hey, Russ, we love you as a... The point is, hey, Russ, we love you as a human being. You've been here. We've been through dark times and good times. We can like end this Los Angeles experience that is ruining everything for you and allowing you to be with your family for a year. Next year, we'll sit down in August and decide. Like, fake whatever you have to fake. Just stay in Los Angeles. Stay with your wife, with your kids. Do whatever.
But it's
next year,
over. Like that could end it.
Yeah, and what if it's the end of Russ's career? I mean, does he really want? I don't know. I mean, to me,
anyways, I mean that's certainly a possibility.
Yes, the point is, where, like, do you prefer going to, I don't know, Orlando, New York, like play for tips? Is that what you want? I mean, to me, that is the point. To me, like, it's hey, talk to his agent. If that is a remote possibility that Russ says, okay, I don't care about playing. I'll just be there, sitting on the bench.
I mean,
Because
Taylor
I love OKC.
on Friday, like Russell has played the most minutes of anybody in the league this year.
Exactly.
He
Don't
cares
you want
about
to rest?
he cares about playing basketball is the thing. And he always has. The dude wouldn't sit out when he had a dent in his face. You know?
Yeah.
That is still all there, and it's why he's played the most minutes this season. It's why he's not going to do it. He doesn't sit out unless he absolutely has to. He's played through a crazy amount of injuries in his career because he wants to play. And I don't think that he would be content, getting the Al Horford treatment. That's the whole issue with trading for Russ. If it was just his contract and you got to take on the picks because you're taking on the contract, great. But you still have to take, and this is the problem with the Lakers are seeing right now, is like you have to take the personality, you have to take everything that comes along with it. You have to take it. They would have to buy him out. It would have to be, you come here, let's negotiate a buyout, and then you can go on a minimum deal, which is still significant because of his years that he's played.
Then let's do that.
You can go on a
To me,
minimum
it's
somewhere else. That would be the only possible way. Is if and you'd also have to go to Thunder ownership and say, hey, we're going to go into the tax. We're going to pay not only him. Then you're paying $70 million in dead money next season.
Mm-hmm. That seems a little bit too high.
That's where it's like, hey, Clay, would you like to pay $70 million for essentially just a few draft picks? I think that's where they might be like, you know what, Sam? That's might
a bit too much.
It might be a bridge too far.
Is it 70 though?
Well, it's like the 40 million for Russ, and then is it not 30 for Kemba?
But I think that you get the set off, right? I can possibly think that they allow him to get 10 millions away from OKC without getting anything off of him.
I can't remember how much it was, but
I think it was around 20.
60 still.
But remove 9 millions for favors and negotiate a buyout for us. That could be around 40.
$40 million is a lot of money to just sit there. I don't know what.
It's what they are paying this year.
I don't know what the appetite is to do that multiple years.
No, it's only yes, of course. But we are talking 4 unprotected first.
If that's the case, I think
that is the case. That is what I'm talking about. You get 3 from Philly and 1 from LA plus 2 swaps. You basically have, like, I don't know.
You're laying out like one, a probably almost an impossible scenario, but 2, the only scenario in which the Thunder would take on Tobias Harris.
Yeah, but don't you think that the Lakers will jump at it in 35 seconds?
I don't know.
What are the options?
That Tobias deal is so bad. It's so bad.
But it's 1 year more than Russ for less money this year and the next. What you spent on the last year, it's basically 20 millions total if you account for Russ's salary. That is the point. What other chances there are?
Yeah, I don't know. The reality is like the Lakers are kind of screwed.
That's why. That is your leverage. I discussed just one pick because I think that it's all that it can give.
Yeah.
But
you could, I was just thinking, like, what young player? They don't have a young player.
No, they don't have anything. I think that you can ask 2027 swap and 2028 unprotected.
Yeah,
on top of the 2 reverse swap that you can concoct with them. So the point is, hey, what is the value of a first round pick?
Yeah, they got the Jazz protected pick for the 2 years, $9 million per for favors. What's the protections on that? Is it lottery protected, top 10 protected?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it's lottery.
Yeah. So I would use that as a guide for how the Thunder would approach other trades for draft picks. It's like when we talk Joe Ingles. Maybe it is top 8 protected.
No, I think it's less money. I think that you can. I mean,
Oh, you're right. No, because it's years. So maybe
exactly.
maybe lottery protector, top 20 protected, or whatever for
I
Ingles.
would even venture in saying, hey, are you open to say that you give me a second rounder and you remove part of the protection on 2023, like top 2 protected
For
something
Ingles?
like that.
Yeah, sure. I think that makes sense.
I would much rather
You also
have that.
Yeah, you also only have to pay the remaining salary left on the Ingles deal.
Yeah, and you have to do it anyway. So for you, it doesn't really change anything.
Yeah, you do have to pay the money out to somebody anyways. So
I think that you have to give something in for that. I mean, probably someone that the Jazz remotely like.
yeah. Like who?
I don't know. Not Kenrich, because I mean, Kenrich has more value than that, to be honest. And so if it's Kenrich, then you need a real asset back. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think that the Jazz like Ty Jerome enough.
Jerome's kind of good.
He is okay.
He
would be good in that system.
I was gonna say he'd be good in the Utah blender.
Yeah, but he will not defend. I will not improve anything in terms of defense.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem, is that you're adding another good offensive player to a team that has only good offensive players and no defenders. And that's kind of where everything falls apart. If you're talking about throwing in Jerome, that's why having Kenrich or Dort that's the guys that I would be hollering for if I was in Utah. Like those are the type of guys they need there. They don't need Ty Jerome. They have many versions of Ty Jerome up there already that they just don't need. Like Jared Butler. Jared Butler's like a even cheaper Ty Jerome at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. I mean, that's one that you definitely look at and say, yeah, that's a contract that the Thunder could take on.
And a person that the Thunder can take on.
Yeah, I don't know. My guess is that he would just stay home. And that.
Yeah, but why? I mean, if he wants to play a couple of years.
Yeah, he's got a family. He can rehab at home and then probably re-sign with the Jazz.
Yeah, that's okay. But if I'm OKC, why not jumping at the possibility to add someone that I don't know, is close to Giddy? Maybe he wants that. Who knows?
Yeah, I would like that. I would like it if he was here. Also, like to talk to him. But I also would be a little surprised if he. I mean, my guess is that because the Thunder are very player friendly, would call him and say, "Hey, what do you want to do?" It's not necessary to report he's not going to play.
No.
So my guess is that maybe he flies here for the physical. I mean, do you even have to do a physical if you're hurt?
I don't know. Probably.
I guess you just waive the physical.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, because that's not the reason that they're acquiring him anyways. So, yeah, I mean, a deal like that makes total sense for OKC. And it's funny, like that would be 3 salary dumps in a year from the Utah to OKC, right?
Yeah, it seems like a common theme here.
Yeah, they call him up again and be like, Sam, we need to have the same conversation that we've had 2 other times again. Because we need to, and that's funny. And they did it with Eric Maynor 2 years ago, where it was I mean, the Jazz have called on the Thunder for financial help. If they do it again, this will be the 4th time in Sam's tenure, right? Is there a time I'm forgetting? But I think that this would be the 4th time that the Utah Jazz would have called the Thunder and asked for some financial help and giving them draft capital or a player. I mean, I would ask for Jared Butler.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, if you don't ask for picks and you just put him in the deal, I don't know how much it makes sense for OKC's future plans. You have already many guards. There is no guarantee that the next draft pick will not be a guard. And so at that point, it seems like, I don't know.
You're just trying, guys. You're just trying them out, Like I'm fully okay with not, keep on, trying Teo Maladone anymore. Like, okay, for the minutes that Teo would get, give him to Jared Butler instead. Like
Sure.
I am one of a few that were just outrageously high on his potential at the draft. So I don't have a.
He's good. He was a good shooter. He's probably a good shooter.
Yeah, good shooter. Can get buckets on his own. Yeah, he and Trey Mann kind of occupy the same space, though.
Yeah, a little bit redundant there.
But anyways, he would be fun. He'd be fun down the stretch, especially if if Shea sits longer and whatever. Like, give me one more fun player.
Hey, 3-1 since he went down. So
3-1 since he's gone down, which is, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that right after this quick break. We're back after that quick break. The Thunder in the reverse standings sit at 4th still, unchanged. They had a real opportunity, man, right in front of them. They would be, if they would have lost those games, they'd be sitting at 3rd in the reverse standings ahead of Houston, which is kind of a bummer. Instead, they are now 2.5 games up on the Rockets.
Yep.
And a couple of the games I can't really be mad about because it was guys like Giddey and Dort and Trey Mann. And the last one against the Blazers, I'm pretty miffed about it because you get 30 off the bench from your vets who were incredible, like really, really good,
Yeah.
Those are the kind of games you should not win. If you throw your young guys out there and they win, it's just like, all right, way to go. We have some good young players. Win some games here and there. But when your bench does heavy lifting and it's Muscala, Muscala and Jerome and Kenrich, I'm just like, come on, stop it. Stop it. I don't like that, and I'm out on that. They could have played Poku that night. They didn't.
But he played in the next game. And he was okay.
Yeah, they sent him back to the G League.
He was playing too well.
He was pretty good, but also is bad enough on the defensive end that it's still very playable. Still very playable.
I don't agree with that.
I just think you play him big minutes, you're not going to win games. You play Kenrich big
Not
minutes.
because of defense.
You think his defense is good? Enlighten me.
I don't think it's bad. I think he occupies a lot of ground.
Yeah.
He's wide.
I mean, him versus Kenrich, though, is kind of the measuring stick.
Yeah, but they don't play the same position. Technically, is really playing him with Paisley and plus Kenrich. That is the issue.
I'm just
fine with me. I mean, there was a unit.
Kenrich, though, and if you close games with Poku instead of Kenrich, okay.
Yeah, okay, that is okay. That is pulling the lever. They are not doing it.
That's what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to Poku's defense in a vacuum, which I do think, he was.
But the guy played 26 minutes.
He was solid in his 26 minutes.
Exactly. That is the point.
Let's go 36. Let's go 46. I don't care. Come on, let's explore the studio space a little bit on Poku. Free Poku.
I love that. But I also should say, or at least mention, that if you win games because of 15, 18 minutes of Mike Muscala and 14 of Kenrich Williams, or even 20 of Kenrich Williams, that is not why you're winning games.
It's partly why.
But if you look, but even those units against the Blazers, it's not that those units with Mike and Kenrich were dismantling the Blazers. They were just okay.
Also, the Blazers just stink.
Exactly. I mean, the Blazers were terrible, and OKC was playing good basketball. That is the point. I mean, if Trey Mann has an average night against Sacramento It's 4-0
Mm-hmm.
because they are just bombing from deep. And I love that. And I don't know why when Shea's on the court, we don't have that. I just don't know. I mean, I want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see like Shea taking 6, 7 spot up threes and 3 men take another 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And let's play like this.
Yeah.
Let's go small and with a ton of shooting. That is what I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that too. I'm a fan of the way they've been playing. You know, they've played well. I mean, it really probably that last Blazers game, you did get 23 minutes from Kenrich, 23 from Jerome, only 12 from Muscala, who's just like outrageously productive in his 12 minutes, 11 points, 5 boards, a block, 0 turnovers, 0 fouls in 12 minutes.
Yeah.
The per minute stats on this guy are just unbelievable. I need to check his cleaning the glass stats because
he's great.
Gotten better. Like it has to have gotten
but
better.
You're talking about limited amount of minutes still.
Yeah, but you just play different guys. I mean, if you
I
gave
know,
Poku or Paul Watson.
I know, but we are talking about below replacement level guys in Muscala. Probably like slightly above with
plus
Kenrich.
11 on the season. It's not below replacement.
Like, talk with 30 teams. How many would say that Muscala is an above average center for this league?
I understand what you mean. However, he has played like an above average player for the Thunder.
He's just functional to the way OKC is playing basketball.
He's in the 93rd percentile in on-off differential. 93rd. Kenrich is in the 98th percentile.
That speaks exactly about what I'm mentioning here.
Ty's Rome in the 94th percentile.
I know, but these are role players, like players that will not play regular minutes on other teams.
Then what in the world is going on here? Plus 10.9, plus 11.8, plus 14.3 when they're on the court.
They are well coached.
Yeah, but
we have a basketball philosophy that helps winning basketball games.
It does.
They are not a mess on the court.
Except for when you play Teo and Paul Watson and guys like that.
I know. You got my point. You know what I mean.
I do know what you mean, because if you put those guys out on the trade market, they're getting like if you were offering up Ty Jerome to the entire league, they'd be like, we'll give you a top 50 protected second.
Exactly. Maybe top 45 if you're lucky.
And yeah, we'll give you 2 seconds for Mike Muscala. Like 2 no unprotected seconds for Muscala.
I don't believe that.
Maybe. I mean, Kenrich. I think Kenrich. I'm with. I don't know if the reporting is correct or not on that the Thunder need a first rounder for Kenrich. I don't know that to be true. However,
but that's the point. I mean, they are asking because they know that no one will give them a good first. You know that.
I mean, a good first. What's a good first?
Top 10 protected first in the future for our team, from a team that is not currently great and not like to be. I mean, the top 23 say that the Phoenix Suns pick next year, top 10 protected is a bad pick for me.
Yeah, I mean, if it was the Suns, I would say kick the can down farther, please.
Exactly. But make it top 10. Otherwise, it's not a great pick. So what I'm mentioning here, it's not that Kenrich, Mike, and Ty Jerome aren't helping the team. I can really read numbers. I know that they are. My point is, if those guys help you winning so much, it must be something else. Because they had moments in their career where they were borderline unplayable guys.
Yeah.
And for Kenrich, you can say, hey, he improved.
Well, like they're playing well within the offense. Like they're giving good effort.
Exactly.
I think that you need guys that just don't really and the thing about those guys though is that they all know exactly what they're doing. And that's where I think young tanking teams, a lot of times you lose because they don't know what they're doing. You know, you play a lot of Isaiah Roby. Isaiah Roby will make some good highlight plays and will play well at times. there will be also times where you watch him play and you're like, oh yeah, he doesn't know exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, he
No,
did
I
that
agree.
against the Nuggets, and Roby's hurt now. But if you gave all those minutes to Roby and to Watson and to Vit Krejci, who I assume is like able to play soon because they sent him back down to the G League, and to Poku, like those guys just aren't mentally in the same place that Ty Jerome and Kenrich and Muscala are.
I understand that if you play Teo, Poku, and guys as the starters, they
Yeah.
will lose every game.
Yeah.
I don't
Let's do it.
discount
Woo!
that.
Let's
The
go.
point that I'm mentioning here that is not making probably I'm not able to explain it. It's hey, if you win basketball games because of Kenrich and Mike, you think that it's only on Kenrich. It means that the remaining minutes are played in such a way that by just getting on the court, a few functional players, you win basketball games. That is my point.
It is ultimately a really good thing.
Exactly. The point is, those young players are not bad enough, like Giddy, Dort, Trey Mann, Darius Paisley.
Yeah.
Since Paisley went to the bench, we don't have bad starting unit. That is the issue.
I don't have a problem with Bays lately. I'm very willing to say his name as many times as I need to. You look over.
Good.
Yeah, he's been good. Like legitimately a helpful player, specifically on the defensive end. Like he has turned it on, and that's great. That's a good thing. That's great. You look across the way at the Blazers, and they got nothing coming off the bench. Like Ben McLemore is like a shell of himself, who was already a shell of something else before he became a shell of himself.
Yeah.
Dennis Smith Jr. He'll be in Europe next year, I assume, or in China.
Yeah.
Like he's just straight bad.
China.
Speaking of guys that don't know what they're doing, Greg Brown the third.
Yeah.
I have seen few players up close that really just looked over at the coaching staff just like I don't know what I'm doing. Like he did that so many times during the game here in OKC. It was kind of astounding. And then this is a close game. The Thunder only won this game by 3.
Yeah.
And the crunch time offense for the Blazers is like the most sickening thing ever. Like it's non-existent. It's let's drive at the basket and just pray to God. Like just say your prayers as you're dribbling the ball, hoping that there's something there or that you get fouled or something. Just keep driving, just drive it. We're not going to really run anything around you. We'll space a little bit, but there's
I get that.
There.
I get what you mean. If you put players that absolutely don't know what to do, if you put me and you playing off the bench, then you're probably losing games.
Yeah.
Great.
Thunder need to find their CJ Ellaby. They need to find their Greg Brown the third.
What I'm saying though is getting reps at playing in a certain way, I think has value.
Yeah.
How much? I don't know.
I don't know.
I absolutely don't know. I think that Kenrich and Mike,
they legitimately are developing habits that will help the players that will be here down the road. One of my problems with this, who's going to be here in 3 years?
I know. But the point is, isn't it crazy that all the tanking is failing because of a sub-level replacement guy that just played the right way?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the way in which you tank and you take a horrible coach. Like Dagnall is a great coach.
He's a good coach.
That is an issue. Like he's maximizing Mike Muscala. He's doing, hey, take the shot from here, here, and here. Nothing else. And he's done that. Like take 4 threes and he does it. Look at Dort. Or Paisley. He's making players out of guys that 2 months ago we said, what is happening with these guys?
I know.
Like the coaching staff is really good. Do you want to like send Dagnall to I don't know Maldives or in I don't know to a great island for 3 months? I guarantee you, if you allow them to be coached from someone else, like ask Presti to be the coach, and you will lose every single game, probably. Maybe 2 or 3 you can win. That is the point. It's not just Mike and Kenrich. It's that those guys play hard every single night. In Portland, there was no one who was playing hard.
Oh.
No one. Sacramento, horrible effort. They just found Trey Mann in a bad night. That is what they won. They won the game. That to me is the issue / non-issue of OKC, because they care and they play extremely well for their talent.
Yeah.
And like the fact that Kenrich, Ty, and Mike are positives, it's because of that. It's because they have a coaching staff that put themselves in the best position to succeed, and therefore they are good. So to me, that is the core problem of this team, which again, in the grand scheme of things, yes, it is an issue because it puts you away in a way. Of course, you can take Moses Brown and play like nobody. You will lose game anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, but last year you had very few players to develop. You had Pokuševski. Right now you have Trey Mann.
Yeah.
You have Josh Giddey. You have Jerry.
Yeah.
You have Aaron Wiggins.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys needs good reps.
Yeah. I'm gonna list some teams. Okay, tell me what these teams have in common. The Philadelphia 76ers, the Knicks, the Jazz, the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Raptors, the Spurs, the Nets, the Bulls. What do they all have in common?
Those are an incredible amount of teams that I already forgot. I don't know. And then in their names, no, sorry. Be a little bit more specific. Help me out. Like we are talking players, we are talking coaching stuff. We're talking
common is that they all have a worse defense. Rating than the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah. Sorry.
Listen to those teams again, because preseason, if you would have said, "Well, these teams have a better defensive rating than the Thunder," I think you'd be like, "Yeah, of course they will." Like you joking.
20. I would have guessed 25 teams.
76ers, the Knicks, the Jazz, the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Raptors, the Spurs, the Nets, the Bulls, all have a better defensive rating. By the way, the Bulls are all the way down at 20th now, which would be the worst defensive rating for a Billy Donovan era team. Just kind of interesting.
They're struggling. I mean, they basically lost 2 of their point of attack defenders, which makes things extremely hard. Yeah. So to me,
but the Thunder have their guys, and they're 10th. 10th. I mean, that is unbelievable. I mean, if they end up
rim protection
by the end of the season, there should be a statue of the number 10 outside the Thunder arena, that somehow in this season where they're going to win, I don't know, where they're going to win 21, 22 games this season.
24.
24. In a season where you won 24 games, you were ranked 10th in defense. I mean, and we've talked about this so much in our text chat, on the pod, that Lou Dort has not had the best defensive season of his career this year. It has not. He's had stretches that have been very good. He's been good lately.
Yeah.
But there's been stretches where it's been a little worrisome. And still, they have the 10th rated defense. I actually asked Mark about this, I think about a week ago, because at the time they were 11th. And I was just like, can you just explain to me how you've done this? I asked him if he had any expectations for the team as defensively. Did you have any expectations for the team? And he said that one, he didn't have any expectations, which is like a very Thunder thing to do, is where you have no expectations.
But you really have expectations.
I'm sure there are. I would like to know what they were. If you could just tell me, that would be very nice. No, he just talked about how it's a willingness from all of the players to be in the right spot, basically.
Yeah.
And to play collectively as a unit. And like, that's how they do it. And it's like, great. And it's at an elite level. And there are definitely some things about it that are, this team is extremely coachable, is like probably the number one reason why they're the 10th best defense in the NBA, is that you have an extremely coachable team. 2, I think having younger guys that are willing to be coached is also helpful. And then having veterans, like every veteran on this team, like they all have the same characteristics. Like they're humble. They have had to work their tails off to get here.
Yeah.
And they don't really have any expectations for how they need to be treated or how the minutes they need to play or whatever.
That's totally fitting for us.
It's yeah, exactly. Another reason. What?
That's why you should hire him. Just
for 1 second, and I just want to just talk about one thing. Can you imagine Russell Westbrook being coached by Mark Daigneault? Like it just feels so weird. They're almost the same. They're basically the same age.
I know. Can you imagine how many defensive rotation he would just completely miss?
He would. I mean, we would if Russ played on this team for 2 weeks, we would have the 20th ranked defense very fast.
Exactly.
Very
that
fast.
Is sweet, and it's not helping the offense as well. Like
I think he would help the offense. I think the offense would be better than last. I mean, they are dead last.
Like,
dead
can you
last.
imagine a lineup with Russ, Giddy, Dort, Favors, Baisley starting unit? Play with that, Russ. Come on, show me.
Russ has done some incredible stuff, though. Like what he did with the Wizards down the stretch of last season, incredible stuff. Like he may not help statistical profiles, but he helped that team win. I mean, like straight up help that team win.
Yeah.
And that would scare me a little bit. And also, it's no. It's just no.
I know. On the bright side, can I tell you something that I think I said it on Thunder After Dark after Sacramento or Portland, I don't remember. One of the things that blow me away, I was listening to, as always, the opposing telecast, and for a second they were not loud, and I could clearly hear Baisley shouting on defense.
Yeah.
That really shocked me.
Yeah, no. That's been a thing for a little while. Yeah,
but I mean, for you, that is something that you always miss when you look at the TV and not getting the live experience, live like near the field, near the court, because that thing, I couldn't guess that he was starting to communicate at a high level. That is quite a skill to have on defense.
Yeah.
I mean, like players that can communicate from the back line of defense to the top and are actually successful in that. That is why Steven Adams was so good with Andre Robertson. Yeah. And I think that is a skill. And but the point on positioning, I mean, defense is like an orchestra. If you have one instrument that plays in a different way, then it ruins everything. Yeah. And there are a lot of times where you could see the defense shuffle from side to side, rotate. They may be a little bit late, but they are still in time to make some effort to contest. They never give up on a closeout. Even if it's late, they do it. And I mean, Giddey is not a great defender. He told us much after Barnes cooked him in the post a couple of times.
Yeah.
But he's not in the wrong spot. He gets defense. He knows what to do, where to be. Is he able to hold one-on-one? No. That is 40% of defense in the regular season, maybe less. In the playoffs, that's another story. I mean, but there are like very few teams that will scheme for Luka Doncic in a night in February, in January, just to win the game and just to cook him over and over. I mean, usually it's, hey, if you are in the right position, you get like your defense is already good enough.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you're not tuning into the Thunder broadcast, you're missing gems like this one where Michael Cage said, I don't know poker, but I know how to play it because I like to play it on my phone. But I'm gonna raise you one. That's what Baisley's saying. You just miss just these gems from Cage, or you're just like, I don't know where he's going with this, and he just kind of just meanders around with his thoughts. It's amazing. It's an amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, the last two games, for example, you have Lamar Hurd in Portland, which is great.
Yeah,
and then you have the duo in Sacramento, which is overqualified for that team. I mean, There's Mark Jones and Katie. I don't remember the surname of. I think she's a former player, WNBA player.
Yeah, just
And
having
they
Mark
are
Jones there.
they are great.
Yeah, it's a good broadcast.
Yeah.
He's no Cage, but he's pretty good.
Andrew, you know what I'm
Rising,
saying? That's nasty. Okay.
Rising Stars rosters were set, and the draft process was weird. These teams are weird.
Oh no, I missed that.
Josh Giddey was chosen 5th in the draft, which is cool. However, it doesn't mean anything at all because these teams are messed up. He is on a team with our guy Cole Anthony, which is great, who was picked before Josh.
That's a travesty.
Marjan Beauchamp, who is of the G League Ignite. What do you think about the G League Ignite guys being?
I've seen literally, as you know, I compartmentalize my life.
Yeah.
And so up until April, I really pay limited attention to anything else than the NBA. So I'll start in 6-7 weeks.
What do you think about the idea, though?
I don't particularly like it.
I would, if I were these G League guys, I would almost, there is upside, certainly. If they play well, there's upside in this. If they play poorly, there's like a big downside because these are the guys they're going to be playing against next year. And if they stink, then it's, oh man, like that. Like if Dyson Daniels is like, whoa, like he shouldn't be on the court. Like this is bad. If Jaden Hardy goes like 0 of 10 or something, which is sort of totally possible, then it's like, whoa, because I don't know that this is like a real scouting opportunity for teams. I don't know how teams view it, but I don't know. I love that Scoot Henderson's playing in the game. Like I'm very excited about that. That that Scoot and LaMelo are on the same team is like, oh, like that's the most fun thing about it to me. All the other guys, I'm like, man, I don't know. Like I don't know that I like the idea of that.
But in general, I don't particularly like the idea of the G League for like tier 1 prospects. I don't know. It's risky for them. I don't quite understand. I mean, if you look at the guys like Hardy, Kuminga, Green, you could say that they all lowered the level of their draft pick, their best draft pick,
except for Green.
No, even him. It was in serious discussion for number 1 before.
I mean, you think if he played at Kentucky, he would have gone number 1?
No, just forfeit the year. Just don't play. Play, train, do 3-4 great workouts, and boom, you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking Shaedon Sharpe as top 5 pick. And probably there will be teams that will likely try to get him.
Yeah.
So if you are really high, why? Why going that path? I understand college. Not fully, but I'm not American. So
they're making money. I mean, that's a simple answer to it.
Yes, but it's not a good environment for them to make money.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think we need to see more. I think we need to see this play out for years before we can really determine.
Yeah, right now it's not. I mean, if you take the best coaching staff available and you make them play hard and you make them play like real basketball, then maybe. But right now, that is not the case. I mean, the thing that I love in the NBL is that those guys go there, they play against like mean grown-ups that will beat the out of them.
Yeah, I mean, the
every
case
night.
The case for the NBL is growing because you've seen what it's done for Josh Giddey and for LaMelo Ball, and it's like, oh, like they were both.
That's
ready.
A real league. You don't play if you're not good.
Yeah, they were ready to play when they got here, both of them.
Like Ferguson,
like T. Ferg, another great example. Yeah. High-level players, I think it is an interesting option, but staying in the States, making $1 million, I don't know, playing basketball.
Yeah, that's good for them.
Like all you do is play basketball. In the case, like if you go to college, like you have to go to class, you have to there's just a lot more to it. So like I understand if you're Dyson Daniels, like I'll make a cool $1 million and only play basketball.
The college is great. I mean, college environment. I don't remember who was the guy. AJ Emmons? Yeah, AJ Emmons, center, Purdue. I remember. I used to meet him every other day on the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so freaking tall. But it seemed that we had a class, or I don't remember, around the same time, near the same building, and so I used to meet him. I mean, that atmosphere is something, though.
That's true. That's true.
It was one of the best moments in my life. In that campus, I lived inside the campus, and it was good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, it's not money, but it's
and you
it's a
can make
future
money
in your
now.
life.
If you're a high level player, you can go make $500,000 with the NIL money. So like that's positive now that you don't have to hide it. But then the other guys on Josh's team, Jalen Green, Herb Jones, Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Suggs. I absolutely hate the construction of that team. It is maybe the worst construction because like Jalen Green wants the ball in his hands, Cole Anthony wants the ball in his hands, Tyrese Maxey wants the ball in his hands, Jalen Suggs.
They will not get it.
Josh Giddey should have the ball in his hands, but
will have.
I hope so.
He will.
I like Herb. I'm a big Herb guy. Other than that, it's kind of gross. All right. Any predictions for the trade deadline before we go? This is your last chance, Michele, on the pod to get a good trade deadline prediction off.
I hope that something crazy happens. I don't like the Josh. I mean, yeah, Joe Ingles, fine. Yay, vanilla trade for everyone. Yay, we got a second. Fine. No, I hope something more. I don't know.
Yeah,
something crazy. Maybe a little bit less crazy than what I concoct live here, because I swear I didn't thought about it until you said, "Hey, let's talk about Tobias." I said, okay. Something a little bit less crazy than that, but not. I mean, not vanilla like Ingles.
Yeah, I predict vanilla.
Yeah,
unfortunately. All right, let's go to the stream real quick. Hoopstock69, Phil Zoff, James Anderson, Jack Ao, Grape Ape is here. Sig Inside 2020 is here in the chat. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the little bell, and you'll get an alert when we go live, and you can join us too. Frank Turman, Brian Yates, Winskill, 1969, Tyler Nevins, Dinah Lawson, K Plains Drifter, Tricks, Everyone Needs a Smile is here. Cody McChicken is in the chat. Daniel, Y Sermon, David Cook is in the chat as well. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. Hope you guys have a great day. Chatham is 33 also here. Andres Gorgu is here too. Thank you so much for joining. We will talk to you guys again on Wednesday.